He was booed all night long. But in the end, Adolis Garcia silencing Astros fans with a grand slam that sends the Rangers to just their second ever Game 7. And with that, welcome into Free For All. I'm Jeff Kolb, Mike Ducey, Sam Gannon joining me live from Minute Maid Park in Houston. Guys, just like Friday, this game had us on pins and needles. The resilience of this team on display again, coming back for this 9-2 win. It was a luxury that we did not have to see Jose Leclerc come back out after sitting through the 8th inning into the 9th inning for this one, and the Rangers survive. And boy, guys, what a comeback after what we saw Friday night.
Yeah, this is something else that we saw here tonight, Jeff, because for all the world early on, it felt as though this game was trending in Houston's direction. The same two guys who've tortured the Rangers all along, Altuve and Alvarez, combined to score the game's first run, but then kind of unlikely contributors in some ways come through, and Garver and Heim. We knew Evaldi would be good, kind of assumed it because he's been such a great playoff performer. But Sam, the redemption stories here tonight. Adolis Garcia gets the grand slam, kind of icing on the Ranger cake, but Leclerc, a huge story.
Jose Leclerc getting out of that bases loaded jam in the 8th was just epic. He got redemption there. And you know, Jeff mentioned how much Adolis Garcia got booed today, and it was constant. When you talk about that four straight at bats, 4 straight strikeouts, then he steps up here and hits the grand slam. It was silent in Minute Maid Park, Mike. And you know, I remember Rangers fans after Game 5 saying, you know, this one is going to go down in the history books. Well, this game is now going to go down in the history books for the Rangers. And now, two best words in all of sports, Mike, Game 7.
Game 7. And I tell you, until tonight, Game 6 always had a terrible connotation for Ranger fans because they think of St. Louis all those years ago. This is a Game 6 they'll always remember fondly just because of the you know, almost courageous performance by this team. The way they lost Game 5, the way that you know, Leclerc gives up the late home run and that one gets away from them. They come on the road. You know, home team still hasn't won a game in this series.
It's
just
bizarre and it's crazy.
Especially when you experience the environment in this ballpark tonight. There weren't many Ranger fans in here.
No.
This crowd was at a frenzy from the very beginning until a few occasions where the Rangers took them out of that frenzy. Then 5 in the 9th, 5 runs in the 9th to cap it off. Garcia gets the grand slam. You know, just one game removed from that scuffle and that controversy. Wow, a lot of really dynamic, dramatic moments in this one as Bochy wins now 11 of 12 elimination games that he's been involved in as a manager. That would seem to bode pretty well for Game 7 tomorrow night.
Yeah, and the Rangers came into this game all time. They were 1-8 in potential elimination games. So that, again, says something about the never say die attitude of the Texas Rangers and their unwavering, just relentlessness this whole night. And the fact that they forced the Game 7 here, anything can happen, Mike.
You know, it's interesting because the top of the order still wasn't great. Simeon got on base 3 times, and that's important. He was more patient at the plate. But by my math, the top 4 hitters, 4 of 13. Garcia, yeah. I added it up before the grand slam. Forget that. Garcia redeemed himself at the end, that's for sure. But my point that I was going to make is that guys like Garver and Heim, whom you would not necessarily expect to have the kind of moments that they did, were huge. I mean, that Garver homer, man, did the Rangers need that when they got it to tie the game. And then Heim barely gets it out. A home run that would have been a homer in only this ballpark and Yankee Stadium, as it just made it into the first row of the seats. So lots, Jeff, to talk about here tonight. 9-2 Rangers. Even it up. Game 7 coming up tomorrow night right here on Fox 4. We're going to have post-game reaction as soon as it becomes available. Send it back to you right now, though, for some highlights.
You know, Friday, we did not really want to relive this highlight, guys, but this one, much easier to look at. Let's review how the Rangers got to this 9-2 victory. The Astros, they'd lost 20 of 30 games at Minute Maid Park coming into this one. Evaldi was looking to improve to 4-0 in these playoffs. The Astros strike first, though. Yordan Alvarez muscling the single to center. Jose Altuve comes around. 1-zip Houston. Evaldi had to throw 25 pitches in the first inning. Top second, Mitch Garver coming up clutch. Homers on the first pitch of the inning, his first long ball since that great grand slam against Baltimore, and we're knotted up. Top fourth after Garver comes through with a 2-out single. The other catcher going deep, Jonah Heim, barely gets it past Kyle Tucker's glove. The Rangers take their first lead 3-1. Evan Carter did not start because of his struggles against lefty pitching. Winds up, though, facing the lefty Valdez with 2 on in the 5th. Fromber strikes him out swinging. Rangers lead still there at 2 runs. After the first, Eovaldi had not given up a hit until the 6th when Alvarez led off with a single. Jordan scores on Mauricio Dubon's sac fly here, and the Rangers' lead is cut to 1. Bottom of the 6th, Josh Sborz in for Eovaldi after a 1-out single from Altuve. Sborz in a big spot gets Michael Brantley here. This was huge. A 4-6-3 double play. Great fielding all around, including by Lowe stretching at first. The Rangers keep the lead. Top 8, Brian Abreu in to pitch for Houston against Adolis Garcia. Their first at bat, of course, since the Beanball Friday. Abreu punches out Adolis. Garcia struck out in his first 4 at bats of the game. But Carter had stolen second during the AB and comes around here as Garver comes up huge again. It's 4-2 Rangers. Bottom of the 8th, Jose Leclerc, here he comes. In for Sborz, bases loaded, 2 outs, full count to the pinch-hitting John Singleton. 8th pitch of the at-bat, Leclerc strikes him out, and we're on to the 9th. In the top of the 9th, now 5-2 Rangers. Here is Garcia with the moment of the night, shutting up the Houston fans with the grand slam. The Rangers force Game 7 with the 9-2 victory. Afterwards, Big Game Nate talking about the win.
Did it again, Nathan Eovaldi. Early in the game, your pitching coach Mike Maddox came out to the mound about 4 batters into the game, down 1 run. Things seemed to turn for you at that point. What was the adjustment?
I felt like I was trying to do a little too much out there. You know, 1 run ended up scoring, and it's like I got to make sure I leave them there at that point. Trying to make sure I execute my pitches, but I thought, you know, we did a great job answering back. And once we tied it up 1-1, it was just go out there and try to go as long as I can and get as many outs as possible in this scenario.
Nathan, this team has come back from a lot of things this year with the emotions of Game 5. How do you think your club handled this game tonight?
I mean, I felt like we handled it really well. Like you said, I mean, they came into our place and took it to us for 3 straight games, and you know, for us to be able to turn the page, have that off day, recharge, get back to going the way we know we're able of playing, come out tonight and play really well. And I mean, it was a close game. Tomorrow we got to come in ready to go.
1 game for the World Series. You have been there before. A lot of your teammates have not. What will you tell them about prepping for tomorrow's game and Max Scherzer getting the ball for the Rangers?
I mean, we just got to keep playing what we're doing right now, playing the way we're playing. We don't worry about the World Series. We worry about winning that game tomorrow and let everything handle itself. I think the pitching comes in and sets the tone. Like I said, I gave up that 1 run, and then I was able to get some quick outs and go out there and go deep into the game. But, you know, Scherzer's been in this situation before. Let him go out there and do his thing tomorrow and set the tone.
Game 7, how's that sound?
It sounds good. I mean, we knew that this was going to happen. We knew that they were going to roll over. We knew it was going to be a dogfight, and, you know, now we got to come out tomorrow and be ready to go.
Thanks so much.
All right, Mike and Sam back with me now. So the line on Eovaldi, another good one. 6 1/3 innings, 88 pitches, 5 hits, 2 earned, 4 Ks. You know, in that first inning, guys, he labored, and we could see that. He didn't have his sharpest stuff, but he came on strong, of course, did not give up a hit in innings 2 through 5. You know, when we look at the offensive side of this, obviously the Garcia moment stands out, you know, the grand slam to really ice this thing. But like I said in the highlight, he had the 4 strikeouts and was cold to that moment. You know, Seager, Semien, they've had their struggles in this series, but Semien getting on base 3 times tonight. Garcia came through, guys. What did you make of that moment and just how it felt in the building?
Yeah, it was a crazy moment. A building that had been really loud for most of the night and is notorious for being loud got very quiet. And as I tweeted afterward, I wonder if he celebrated appropriately. I didn't see the celebration, since that's what got him in trouble the first time around. But yeah, he was just having a horrible time up there tonight, obviously. He didn't have a clue for the most part. But when he hit that one out, you could have heard a pin drop in this place.
Yeah, I mean, he couldn't have been having a worse night, honestly. And then he gets up there at his 5th at-bat and really just sends a message that he's not done yet, this team isn't done yet. And again, just when you think of the disaster that Game 5 turned into when they had that game, and then Leclerc blew the postseason save for the first time this year. The fact that he comes in and just has the inning that he did in the 8th was major to get out of that bases loaded jam. And again, I just think it speaks to the way this team has been able to bounce back. And Bruce Bochy said, he goes, I know I keep saying this to all you guys, meaning the reporters, but we've been good at bouncing back this year. And every time they have, the stakes have just gotten higher and higher. And again, I mean, you just can never count this team out.
You know, and I think in some ways, and Ranger fans may disagree with me on this, this is a postseason saving victory, okay? Because I know that, you know, every Ranger fan wants to win Game 7, obviously. But had they lost tonight and won the opening 2 games in this ballpark and then lost 4 in a row to lose the series, it would have been justifiably remembered as a monumental collapse in the postseason.
And demoralizing, honestly.
And so now, you know, you play a Game 7. You never know what's going to happen one way or the other in a Game 7. We're going to talk, I know, about the pitching probables coming up and some of the tasty angles there. But I think just this changes the way that people will remember, certainly this series. Yeah, the Rangers had a lead. Nobody's ever won the first 2 on the road in an LCS and then gone on to lose the series. That fact still remains, but the fact that they came through the way they did tonight, I didn't think they were going to win this baseball game going into it. I told you that. It just was trending so badly for Texas. But the fact that, you know, Garver gives them that important homer early, Heim gets that thing out, and then Eovaldi, I should have known better with Eovaldi on the mound, because as Jeff said, wasn't at his best, but his best was 6 1/3, 2 runs, you know, 5 hits. And when Bochy took Eovaldi out, I wasn't sure it was the right move at the time, to be honest. But then Spores came in, got in a little bit of trouble eventually, and Leclerc, of all people, you know, ends up, you know, going from like the ultimate goat the other night to a kid who really redeemed himself here in Game 6. What a ball game.
Yeah, and it's just crazy to think that this was a team that lost 102 ball games a season ago. And coming into this season, we were talking about, is this a playoff team? And then as the season went on, it was like, no, the expectation is that they're going to make the postseason. And again, I'm not saying the Rangers by any means are playing with house money, because they deserve to be here. But I think you're right in the sense when Rangers fans go into tomorrow, no matter what the outcome is, they're going to feel pretty good about the season that they had and the way they played against their rival here, their in-state rival, the first time ever meeting in the playoffs. What an epic series this has been.
Yeah, redemption and resilience, I think, the stories of the night here. Yeah, exactly.
Some R&R.
Could be no R&R for these guys for a while, or for us.
No
It's
love
a lot
fest.
of fun. A Game 7 tomorrow here in this ballpark on Fox 4. We'll come back and hopefully have some reaction from some of the guys, some more post-game reaction in a few minutes. Jeff?
The Texas Rangers are American League champions.
Just one win away from advancing to their 3rd World Series. Bruce Bochy, the skipper, what an incredible story he has been. Now 1 win away from taking his 3rd franchise to the ultimate plateau of this sport. Welcome back to Free for All. Jeff Kolb here with Mike Ducey, Sam Gannon joining me live from Houston, where the Rangers come away with a 9-2 victory tonight here in a must-win Game 6 of this postseason. You know, the offense had been skewed in the favor of Houston. 27-19 was the scoring through the first 5 games. It's now just 29-28. Of course, the offense waking up in a huge way in this must-win game for Texas tonight. And on the pitching side, you know, still these tense moments with the bullpen, getting Spores in there with runners on, getting Leclerc in there with runners on, and they come through in a huge way. And Bruce Bochy has pushed just about all the right buttons in this series, including with the lineup. Evan Carter, you know, his usage coming in, not starting in that 3-hole tonight against the lefty. Here's what Bochy had to say after the win.
Well, it certainly helped things out. It gave me a chance to take out Leclerc. And, you know, with Garcia, that's him sometimes, you know, and he's got the ability to put those at-bats behind him, face a tough pitcher there, and get the ball out of the ballpark. And, again, it's about, you know, bouncing back and dwelling on what happened.
You came out of retirement for these moments, to manage in meaningful games like this. Tomorrow is Game 7. You could be going to your 5th World Series. Bruce, what are your thoughts going into that game?
It's going to be a tough game. We're facing a tough pitcher, and I'm just looking forward to it. And we're just fortunate, to be here. That's what we keep saying. We're blessed, and hey, it's a big game. Both sides. It's going to be exciting, to get to Game 7. Again, we had that tough loss, and I'm just proud of how these guys keep bouncing back.
So that was Boch right after the game. Here he is at the podium now. Let's take a listen.
Run, but it's good add-on on the end too. It allowed me to, rest Leclerc a little bit.
But Christie in the third row on your right.
So much is always made about home field advantage, but in this series it hasn't mattered. Like, why do you think that's happened in the series?
Wow, I wish I could answer that one. That's a $1 million question. Obviously, we wanted to win some games at home, but it didn't happen, and they play unbelievable on the road. I mean, you look at their record, but it's a very, I think, balanced clubs here that do a lot of things well. They pitch well. They have a good offense, and we've been pitching well, and we have a good offense too. So, but I can't explain that. I wish I could, or we do. Or we would have done a better job at home.
We'll go to Steve in the fourth row on your right.
Bruce, looking at that bottom of the eighth inning, it looked like there was some by-the-gut managing going on. You went with a right-hander to face Alvarez, who strikes him out and gets him out for the first time. It was when you talked about the decisions on leaving Spores in and then also bringing in Leclerc to face a left-hander in Tucker.
Right. I mean, there are guys, so lefty or righty, I have no problem bringing them in. Sometimes you can overdo the matchup type thing, and it's not like Alvarez doesn't hit left-handers. He hits everybody. He's such a talent, and so. But we had our guy out there, and Sporzy made some great pitches there on him. So I'm comfortable with righties facing lefties. You look at the series. I know a lot of lefties have been out there, but you get in a game like this, we were going with our guys.
Go to the third row on your left, Bruce.
Bruce, you kind of talk about leaving things in the past. So to have a guy like Leclerc come in and work his way out of a jam after everything that happened on Friday, to have that.
Says that's the $1 million question, why the road team has won every game in this series so far. Of course, he hopes that remains the case tomorrow night. Guys, Max Scherzer will be back up. The 39-year-old trying to bounce back after the 4-inning outing, 5 runs allowed in the loss on Wednesday. What do you make of this final step as Bochy tries to steer this team towards the World Series?
Jeff, you're a student of pitching. You saw what Scherzer looked like the last time out. I want to ask you, and then we'll give our opinions. But let me ask you, going with Scherzer in a Game 7 situation, is it a good move from Bochy?
Oh, no question. I mean, future Hall of Famer, and we know what he's capable of. I think Max talked openly about how, the adversity that he was up against with not pitching for over a month, and now, he's been building up to this. So in the first inning of that game on Wednesday, he was sharp. I think it was 8 pitches, 1, 2, 3 inning there. So hopefully he can extend on that and not miss in certain locations like he did. But I think there's no one else that would be a better option, right, at this point.
No, exactly. And, that's the reason you got him. He's struggled in recent playoff outings, but he has some good memories of pitching in this ballpark in the playoffs, that's for sure. But it just adds one more element of drama to this Game 7 tomorrow. The fact that Mad Max goes for the Rangers against Christian Javier, who was pretty good in Game 3.
It's just unbelievable to think that we weren't even sure if we were going to see Max Scherzer in the postseason. And then all of a sudden he comes back. And now this entire team is playing for a chance to get to the World Series. Again, Bruce Bochy trying to get to his 5th World Series, which again is a remarkable feat. When you talk about these two managers too on both sides, you have Dusty Baker, Bruce Bochy, 2 class act guys, and I don't think you could ask for a better matchup tomorrow in terms of this rivalry and everything that we've seen here through this series.
And you talk about Bochy pushing all the right buttons, Jeff. You mentioned that earlier. And it was so loud in here. It was hard to hear the Fox telecast, as we were listening to that, the FS1 telecast. But they would show a cutaway of Aroldis Chapman. Will Aroldis Chapman, under any circumstances, pitch in a close game tomorrow night? Your thoughts, my pitching friend?
Well, I think it should depend on the matchups in a big way. And, you know, if it's an Alvarez or a lefty coming to the plate, I was surprised in that situation that you go to the righty Leclerc, despite how he's been more reliable with his command. Obviously, Leclerc is on shaky, ice despite getting out of that jam, tonight. So, listen, I think, like we've heard, Boch has been going with his gut, and his gut has gotten us to Game 7.
It's just that Chapman has been so volatile and so unpredictable. I just don't know how you could trust him right now in a key situation, let alone in a Game 7. On the other hand, he's got a ton of big game experience. That's when, as Bochy was making these decisions, I'm sure a lot of Ranger fans were just taking deep breaths going, well, he's won 3 World Series. He's won 3 World Series. He's won 3 World Series.
And
paid off tonight.
I loved before the game, too, Jonah Heim talking about, it's just baseball. This is what we've done all year long. You heard Marcus Semien talking yesterday about the fact that they're just trying to keep it simple and not to do anything differently and just stay with the game plan, execute differently, and that's exactly what they did. It wasn't perfect tonight, but again, doesn't matter how you get it done, different guys stepping up, and again, Game 7 tomorrow night here on Fox 4.
Yeah, you'll see it right here. This place will be rocking, obviously, as the Rangers try to knock off the defending champs, and Texas tries to go back to the World Series for the first time since 2011. Jeff?
Great time to be a Rangers fan. Guys, great work out there. We will catch up with you tomorrow from Houston. More free-for-all coming up after the break. We're talking football. Cowboys are off today, but their next opponent was in action. We'll show you how the Rams did next. Some people certainly tried to say goodbye to this Rangers team a little bit too soon, and I just did the same with Mike and Sam. They join me back here now. We just heard from a couple guys in the clubhouse, Jonah Heim and Marcus Semien. Let's take a listen to what they have to say.
We got punched in the stomach the other night. We know that. And we took some time to regroup and recover. And we had a good game plan coming in today. And nobody was down. Everybody was looking forward to today. And they brought their A game, and it was a good team win.
Evo talked about trying to do a little too much early on. How were you guys able to work together, because you really did settle in as the game progressed?
Yeah, you could feel a little bit in the first inning. And I think getting out of that first inning was huge for us, and just with one run. And then he settled down, and he did his normal Evo stuff. So I wasn't too concerned with him. He's been in these situations before. He knows what it takes and what to do. So he was special, and our bullpen came in and shut the door.
For you to come in that situation and get one to leave the park, how good did that feel off the bat?
Yeah, it feels good. Any way I can help my team win is huge, and I'm going to do everything I can for this team, because the guys in this clubhouse, they deserve this, and I enjoy coming to play with these guys each and every single day. So it was pretty special and pretty fun, and hopefully we can do it again tomorrow.
It's good to work some counts, get on base, put some good swings on, pitches in the zone. Nice to see that first hit go down, and just trying to battle against Montero and got a mistake to hit.
Tomorrow, Game 7. How much are you looking forward just to the experience of it?
Yeah, this will be my first Game 7. We had our backs against the wall tonight. We should keep the same mentality. I think, we'll learn from what Javier did from us to us last time, and make our adjustments. That's what we've been doing all year, is just continuing to do our homework and make adjustments when we need to, and put together good at-bats. And it was nice to score late in the game. That's something we'll definitely need moving forward.
Marcus, you guys have been resilient all season. Do you feel like this team is equipped to handle these stressful do-or-die situations maybe better than another one who kind of cruised into the postseason?
Yeah, I think, you look at all the games we've had, there's been a ton of stressful innings just where we had to get out of jams and things that kind of build that type of character going into a Game 7. That's something that is good for us to get out of some jams, get Jordan out, Spores getting Jordan out. Those type of moments will get us better for the next game.
All right, the guy's back with me now from Houston. So you just heard it there, Mike and Sam, Marcus Semien talking about the resilience. We heard him Friday night after this loss, the gut-wrenching loss on the Altuve home run, saying it's the most frustrated that he's felt on a baseball field. We've talked this to death, but what do we make of just this latest episode of resilience from this team?
Sam?
I mean, it's incredible, Jeff. I mean, the fact that I think after that Game 5 loss on Friday, I think a lot of teams could have folded mentally, but that's just been what this team has been about all season long. You talk about big game Nathan Eovaldi. He becomes the first player in franchise history to win 4 games in a single postseason. And Mike, to your point, you get different contributions from guys, Garver and Heim, each with 2 opposite field home runs, and each had 2 RBIs as well.
And Simeon and Seager clearly have struggled in this series, maybe especially Simeon. But you won't find a guy who works harder. You won't find a guy who's more thoughtful about the way he goes about his job. The way he stood there and answered every question after that game the other night was so impressive. And from a Rangers standpoint, again, it's good to see him get on base 3 times tonight. Jeff, if I could throw one fact at you here as we look ahead to Game 7, and I'm sorry if this has already been brought up, but the last time a team lost every game at home in a series was the 2019 World Series, Astros-Nationals. The Astros lost Game 7 at home, and the starting pitcher for Washington was none other than Max Scherzer that night.
Max Scherzer.
Just saying.
Trying to exact some more pain on Houston here. Absolutely, guys. So, all right, great stuff. We'll catch up with you more tomorrow for Game 7. Awesome that it's here.
You bet.
All right, we switch gears to football now. The LA Rams, Matthew Stafford, will be visiting the Cowboys next week. Today they had the Steelers at SoFi. Second quarter, game tied at 3. Stafford spins out of the pocket, goes deep to Tutu Atwell. Rams up 9-3 after a missed PAT by Brett Maher. Third quarter, Rams down 10-9. Darrell Henderson Jr. punches it in from a yard out. Rams up 17-10 after a 2-point make. Fourth quarter, Jalen Warren takes the pitch, gets in for a 13-yard touchdown. Steelers tie it at 17. Later in the fourth, same score, Najee Harris up the gut, diving in. Steelers up 24-17, and Pittsburgh holds on to beat the Rams, who have now fallen in 3 of 4. They now get ready for their game against Dallas after this 24-17 loss. That game will be on Fox 4, by the way. In the NFC East, the Giants hosting the Commanders this afternoon. Tyrod Taylor starting at QB for New York in place of the injured Daniel Jones. Second quarter, Taylor hits the tight end Darren Waller for the TD. Giants go up 7-zip. Later in the second, Taylor finding Saquon Barkley here, and he's going to make something happen. 32 yards. Giants double up the lead. Now to the fourth quarter we go. Giants up 14-7. Commanders trying to tie it up in the final minute. Sam Howell avoids the sack, rolls left. But the pass to Jahan Dotson here, incomplete. New York wins 14-7, just their second win of the season. And Washington drops to 3-4. So with that, the marquee matchup of the week, the other game in the NFC East, the Eagles and Dolphins. Philly taking care of business, winning 31-17 over that high-flying Miami offense. So let's take a look at the standings now in the NFC East. Philly now up to 6-1. The Cowboys lurking there at 4-2. Washington 3-4, and the Giants 2-5. We'll be back to wrap up the special edition of Free For All after a big Rangers win right after this. Hey, the Rangers gave the people what they want. Game 7 of the ALCS will be right here on Fox 4, and it's tomorrow night. Our coverage begins here on Fox 4 News at 5. We'll rejoin Mike and Sam out at Minute Maid Park. After that, first pitch at 7:03. We'll be back with a recap after the game, of course, all the coverage, hopefully recapping the Rangers clinching the pennant over those rival Houston Astros. Thanks for joining us again tonight. I'm Jeff Kolb for our entire team. It's been a lot of fun bringing you this whole Rangers run. Make sure to watch out for news online anytime at fox4news.com. We leave you with images from Minute Maid Park, where the Rangers will return tomorrow night, one win away from their third ever trip to the World Series. Thanks for watching. Good night, everybody.